there, thanks for joining us on this special Q&A episode of the Made It in Music podcast. Recently, we posted an episode with Jordana Bryant, a 17-year-old pop country singer-songwriter from Pennsylvania who just moved to Nashville and signed a record deal with Riser House. Make sure you check that out when you get a chance. In this episode, members of our Song Chasers community got to ask specific questions, and now you get to hear the answers. Our Song Chasers community members get to watch these trainings live every single month. They get to interact with Seth Mosley and each of our guests, and then we always open the floor for them to ask any questions they want. If you would like to learn more about the Song Chasers community, head over to joinsongchasers.com. Now let's go ahead and get into this Q&A session with Jordana Bryant.
Let's jump into Q&A. We are transitioning. So all of you guys who posted questions earlier, please repaste them in the chat.
Yeah, and for those of you, we'll find them.
Yes. For those of you guys who did not post, now is your time to do it. You have access to one of the most talented humans alive here. Great songwriter, great artist, great you're kind of like a little CEO boss, hashtag boss babe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Riley, you want to read these?
Yeah. So we've got Cody is asking, what do you hope for your big future ahead? Just any plans, any dreams?
There are a few ones that I'm hoping to be able to do in the next little bit. Definitely playing the Opry is on my bucket list. There's just so much history there, and it's just so incredible. I feel like it's just so many of the people who made me fall in love with music have played there, and so I'd love to play there. And let's see, definitely doing some more touring. I've done a few shows this summer. I did CMA Fest. I opened for Restless Road on one of their tour dates. But definitely, I hope this next spring and summer I'll be able to do some more touring. And yeah, I just really want to be able to be releasing more music. Ultimately, for me, like what I really want to do with my music is just be able to lift people up. I feel like music is, like I said this earlier, but I feel like it's so special in how it has the ability to inspire people. And so I hope that my music, if someone's having a great day, it makes them feel even better. If they're having a not so good day, it, kind of lifts them up and makes them, feel a bit better from that. And so, I just really hope I can continue to share my music with more people and get to keep doing what I love.
That's well said.
Yeah, I agree completely. Let's see, Bill is asking, does your level of guitar playing ever impact your ability to get the song that is in your head out?
I will tell you, I don't think so. I am not the best guitar player. There are people like Seth and people who, when I'm in a session with them and I'm like, how does it sound so much better when you play the notes than when I do? But I think having a basic understanding, especially in country, of how to play guitar is helpful, because for me, a lot of the time I'll get melody ideas when I'm just messing around with chords on the guitar. But I definitely think you don't need to be an expert at it. You don't need to know a ton of music theory, know very much. And also, Benny Blanco, who's one of the best pop writers, doesn't know how to play any instruments. He literally, I remember from watching this Ryan Tedder course that he said, he will literally go up to a piano and be like, what note is this? Guys, put this one in, and it sounds good. You don't need to have a vast understanding of, how to play a bunch of instruments or music theory or all these, different chords, sharp, suspended, seven, whatever things and especially if you're going into a session where I know a lot of the times when I'm going into a session with Seth that he'll come up with a cool idea for a different chord that I don't even know what it is, but he'll,
and I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, I think you don't need to have a super expansive knowledge of guitar. Just knowing some basic chords I think definitely helps to be able to while you're writing by yourself and while you're coming up with ideas, just have something to bounce off of.
For sure. Yeah.
Jinx. Well said.
Kim is asking, can we raise hands? For sure. Definitely, if you have a question, go ahead and throw your hand up and we will get to you after this next question.
Yeah.
So Joelle is asking, how do you navigate being both a songwriter and an artist?
Yeah. So I think definitely I would say just writing a bunch, even if they're ideas that you wouldn't write like for yourself as an artist, I think is great. I think a lot of times when you're seen as more of an artist, it can be hard to kind of get those first few writes where you're writing for other people. But I think writing with people who you become friends with is a good way to do that, where you don't have to necessarily be writing for yourself as an artist, because sometimes people are just more picky about who they write with when they're writing for themselves as an artist, especially if they're more of an established artist. But I think writing with friends who are like also fellow like up and coming artists who might not have the biggest fan base yet, might not be the most established, but who like where you can write some songs for yourself, you can write some songs for them. I think that really helps you start becoming seen as more of a songwriter too, where you can say like, I'm not just an artist who sometimes writes for myself, like I write for myself all the time, and I write for other artists too. And I think if you like really want to be a songwriter, being like strong about like, no, I don't want to take any cuts, like I want to write all the songs that I'm releasing, whether you feel that or not, just like if you care about that, then just be strong about that, because of course like there are a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, like why don't you just take a few songs that are like cuts, like instead of us trying to wait for you to come up with a great song, be like no, this actually like I want to wait until we find the right song that I've written on. And so I think that matters too. And I think just writing all the time really helps. And seeing yourself as a songwriter and not needing someone else's approval or that you are a songwriter. Just in your head, you are a songwriter, you are an artist. Don't wait for anyone else to give you that permission to be or a songwriter, to call yourself a songwriter.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, same. Same.
We've got a hand raised. We've got Kim. If you want to unmute yourself, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, so my question is a little probably unique. So I have an 8-week timeline, and I am releasing a 3-song EP that I've already paid production for. And so I've written about 25 songs or so, but I'm having a really hard time deciding which 3 to pick for the EP. So I've just started co-writing since I joined Song Chasers like on July 4th. And I've done one co-write, but then another one that I'm working on the side. And so I've kind of been in a little shock, I think, because I didn't really know how to go about kind of like vetting people for this. And so I did a co-write with somebody that's not in the group this week, and it just really didn't work out the way I wanted. The girl, she didn't play an instrument. I thought she could sing, but then once we got into the co-write, I really realized, oh wow, I can barely even make out what she's trying to sing, and then she worked on lyrics, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to sing any of these lyrics on my EP. So, I was just nice. And we only got through about a half of a verse in 2 hours. And then we're rescheduled to write again next week. And so I just don't feel like I have time really to even go back and, work on the write with her again. So I guess my question is, what's a proper way for vetting people, especially when you're in a time crunch? And this is really important because I borrowed money, for the production. So I'm paying monthly for a year on it. And I want to make sure whatever songs I do, that they're really good. So it's not just like a hobby for fun or whatever. What's a good way? Should I say send me a couple of tracks of your vocals, send me a couple of songs that you've actually written the lyrics on. And then, if I don't like it, just kind of say, I don't feel like we're a good fit. How would you go about doing that?
Yeah, so I'd say I totally know what you mean. I think what I would say is before even reaching out to them, I think a lot of times people do have stuff on their social media where you can hear, or maybe they'll even have a few released songs. So I would say if you can kind of just search them up and try to listen to whatever they have on their Instagram or Spotify, if they have anything there, that's a great way to kind of just vet, are your styles similar? And a lot of the times, you kind of do have to get in the room before knowing whether your styles really go. But I think maybe a good way of doing that is just being, setting aside a time like, hey, I'd love to write with you. And but I only if you're planning the write, just say you only have an hour or something, where that way, you can have an excuse after an hour if it's not going well, that you're I have to run to this thing. And that way, you don't have to spend more time if you feel like you guys just aren't going to be a good fit. But I think, you know, a lot of times you do just kind of have to get in the room to feel like whether you know, your energies match and whether you, you know, really just go well together. And there are definitely writes where you come off of it and you're like, I really just wouldn't write that. That's not how I would say it. Like, and that's totally fine. And I think, you know, don't see that as wasted time, because it's you becoming more clear on who you are as an artist and a writer and what you want to say and what you don't want to say.
Okay.
That's so good. And it is a great question. And honestly, the big thing is like with co-writing, I mean, especially when you're starting out, you have to kind of try a lot of different, I mean, you said you did like 48 Zoom writes before you even ever did an in-person write. And that you may not have time to do that, but like, point being, I mean, you at some point you do want to make sure that the people you're writing with are, you know, at least at a similar skill level that you are, and they're of a similar musical mind, there's chemistry there. And from there, you kind of just have to get in the room and try it and just know that, hey, not every single write is going to turn into something amazing, you know. And so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with, you know, just if you start something and you're like, this is just, we're not going to finish this. There's no rule saying you have to go back and finish it. You know, you can always, you can always just say, hey, I loved connecting with you. You know, let's stay in touch. I think I'm going to go a different direction with the song, or whatever you need to do. But just, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I also think, like, knowing, if you don't know really the skill level of the person you're going into a write with, don't bring your best ideas in. Like, I've definitely felt that, where I bring in an idea I'm super excited about and super attached to, and then they just take it in a direction where I'm like, what happened? Like, I don't love what we came up with, and I had an awesome idea going in. So for those writes, maybe just, you know, stick to more rough ideas that you don't feel are as like strong, or at least aren't the ones where you'd be upset if it, you know, turned into something that you wouldn't put out.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim.
It's great, Kim. Yeah.
We've got Christine. If you want to unmute yourself, potentially.
Is Christine there? There we go.
There she is.
We see her. We don't hear her yet.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah. I think you turned your camera on, but you got to unmute your microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hi. This is my first time getting with the group. I signed up also last month, but family situations didn't allow me to start. So I'm just starting now. My question is, do you get the co-writers through Song Chasers, or and how do you find your co-writers?
Yeah, so I think it depends. Like, for me, when I first started, it was someone who I knew, a publisher in town, setting up a lot of rights for me. But I think social media is a great, Song Tracers is obviously an amazing way to meet a lot of co-writers. Additionally, I think social media is an awesome way. If you like kind of find someone else who's another starting out artist who you follow, and then maybe they follow you back, or even if they don't, like, just DM them and be like, hey, I love your music, I'd love to write with you sometime. Like, a bunch of people I've connected with that way. And you could just hop on a Zoom session, or if you're both in the same place, you could like do an in-person one. But I think just DM some people on like social media who you feel like would be a good fit, who are around the same, you know, type of level, or, you know, how they are, like, you know, if you DM someone who's like Shawn Mendes, you probably won't get a response because he's super busy, and, you know, but like, it still doesn't hurt to reach out to people who are like, you know, more built up artists. But I would say reach out to a bunch of people you feel like are also starting out artists, and some bigger ones too, but you're likely to get a lot of responses back on the artists that you reach out to.
Yeah. Okay. And definitely use Song Chasers as an asset. I mean, that's half the reason for it. You got a great pool of people here, several hundred people, where you can just go through their bios, go through their links, find out.
Filter down in the member directory.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, literally, like, all the people who are on here, like,
that's what I was thinking. I just haven't gotten started with doing it, you know, putting the profile together and all that. But yeah. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
We're glad you're on here, though.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, we've got Shemaya.
That's Shemaya with his hand raised. see. Do we got you out there, Shemaya?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Might be cutting in and out a little bit.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hey, fan of the music, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear
a
you.
little bit.
We're good now.
Let me join back and come back in.
Okay.
You get in it?
We're it's
Yeah,
better
I
now.
think we
Better
can
now.
better now.
Yeah. Let's maybe come back to him.
Yeah.
Let's take a question from the chat. Let's see. Can we raise hands? We've already got that. So you talked about how being
yeah.
a songwriter and an artist. Not really a question, but Lolly says you're 18 and I'm 81 and I'm still singing and writing. You have many years to continue to share your love of performing and writing. That's awesome.
It's encouraging.
Yeah.
I love that. Loomis is being funny. He said, would you rather endorse a guitar fuzz pedal called Fuzzy Socks or a yoga clothing line called Shape of You?
Probably the first one. I think Fuzzy
Fuzzy
Socks
Socks.
is really appealing.
Right.
It's ironic, like the yoga line that it's like clothing, but it's called Shape of You. Like that's
That's
like,
really
kinda
smart.
Cool. It's like
Honestly, pitch it to Ed Sheeran. I feel like
Right.
that's a really good line.
Yeah,
right.
that's awesome. Well,
I think we got Shemaya back in here. I don't know if he's there. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
got you now.
Okay, wonderful. I turned on my headset, just joined back in.
No worries.
Okay. Once again, I'm a fan of the music, Jordana.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem. I just got off work, but anyways, for like something like doing music and everything, for like getting ready for like, say if you're getting ready for a show, like do you recommend like getting voice lessons, you know, like preparing, you know, like doing voice lessons for, or like from YouTube, or like how do you go about that? Because it's like always confusing, like does this actually work, you know, like better preparing your voice, you know, to be ready for however long it'll be at that showcase, because I would like to get into that soon.
Yeah, for sure. So I think definitely for me, I know voice lessons have really helped because I think it just teaches you like the proper way to sing, where you can have your voice, like where you can be doing sets that are like, 2-hour sets every night, like, and you won't lose your voice, like, because that's something really important. If you're not singing properly, if you're like pulling or straining, it's just not going to be like you could lose your voice, so there are a lot of great ones. I think for me, Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, he has a bunch of great online courses, and he's amazing. He is one that I think he has a ton of great insight, but there are so many ones. I think, just look and research some and try to make sure they're vetted, because I'm sure there are also some that probably don't teach the, I don't know if there's a proper way, but probably teach you stuff that might hurt your voice, but there are a lot of really great ones. So I think that's great. And then also I think for me, practicing just by myself, whatever your show is, practicing that a lot until it becomes so locked in that you don't even have to really think about it is really important. I know before my first shows, I was just practicing every night, with just a mic stand that I had and a water bottle, whatever you have, just practice going through the songs and practice a little bit of movement so you feel comfortable with that. But yeah, I'd say you can do as much or as little before a show. There are people who literally just go on and wing it. And there are people who are great at that. There are also people like me who, if I didn't have an idea of what I kind of want to say, would be just standing there going, Hi, I'm Jordana. So just know yourself. If you're someone who needs to like kind of have a sense like, okay, I think for this course, because it's super big, what if I did something where I pulled the mic stand out dramatically and I like, pulled the mic off the stand dramatically, like, it doesn't have to be choreographed, but just having an idea of kind of like what you might want to do, or even if you practice it every night and it's a little bit different every night, which is totally fine. Like, just I think giving some thought to it before the night of the show is helpful.
Yeah.
And that throat coat tea, that's another just
That
like
helps.
if you're feeling down a little bit,
100%. Even if you're feeling like your voice is 10.
Yeah.
But it'll pick you back up for sure. But
And it helps. I mean, voice lessons are a great thing if you want to be a songwriter. Like just being able to sing the songs really well. I mean, it sounds kind of counterintuitive.
No, you can also demo your own songs.
Exactly. It's really important because I think a lot of times, like if it's hard to hear what you're singing or the notes you're singing, it can be a disadvantage when you're trying to pitch songs to other people. And like, as bad as it sounds, like people do care about when they're like, it hasn't affected at least subconsciously when they're listening to a song that's being pitched to them, whether like they can really hear the notes and like just like
and do they like the voice or not?
Exactly.
That's half of it.
Exactly. And you can get other people to sing on your demos totally, but I think at least taking some really like just to have a voice where you feel like you can sing your own demos and be proud of that, I think is helpful.
I hadn't even thought of that until I've written thousands of songs at this point, but I wrote with a guy the other day who pulled in another writer who was like, oh, okay, because we're writing for like a Blake Shelton thing and he's cutting and he's like, oh, he likes this guy's voice. Like, oh, let's bring him in. So it's like, I never thought about that. But like the fact of having a specific voice even to pitch. Like,
it's like I said, there's this Ryan Tedder course on songwriting like that I looked at and that has some great stuff. And I remember one of the things that he said is that when he's doing demos, he tries to put some stuff on his voice so it doesn't sound too much like him, because if people hear a very distinct voice on it too that is like very known, like Ryan Tedder's for One Republic is like pretty distinct, they can sometimes also back away from that too. It's really interesting how subconsciously the voice on a song can like
shift your feelings
about
it.
Exactly. So like that's something that I think is just weird to think about, but it does matter.
It matters. It very much matters. This has been a blast. Let's give Jordana one more round of applause here.
Yes.
You can hear us clapping very quietly. We can't hear you clapping. But hey, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I'm looking forward to Thursday. We can hop in and work on some music.
Yeah, totally. I'm super excited. Thank you guys so much for having me. You're in the right place to learn about songwriting. Seth is one of the best writers I know. He is so great at giving advice and teaching and just being a mentor. So you're totally in the right place. I mean, I literally still learn so much from him every day, just talking to him and going on and watching the course. And like, you're totally in the right place if you want to learn about songwriting.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. Very sweet of you. And for those of y'all who are on, we'll look forward to seeing you on next event. We've got speed writing Thursday.
Fun.
I'll be hosting that. Be exciting.
Yeah, so
come out.
we will see you all then, and we'll see you on Song Chasers.
Y'all have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this special Q&A episode of the Made It in Music podcast. At Full Circle Music, we're constantly developing free and premium resources for anyone who wants to find success in the music industry, because we know it's hard. We've all started with nothing, and we want to help you accomplish the dreams that you've always had for the music you create. You can go to madeitinmusic.com to learn more about our podcast. And if you'd like to actually participate in these training and Q&A sessions live on our Song Chasers community, go to joinsongchasers.com. Joining these sessions is an exclusive opportunity just for members, and we would love to have you join hundreds of other songwriters inside the community if you're interested. Plus, there are dozens of other major benefits that Song Chasers members get that we have designed to help move their careers and goals forward as simply as possible. Again, go to joinsongchasers.com. Thank you for supporting this show, and I hope you'll stick around for the next episode.